Hey PRV Army, this is the PP Dan, and in this video I'm going to be talking about several PRV2 migration questions and issues. Some of the topics I've listed out that I'll be covering in this video is like, where to farm. There's so many different farms. Where to stake. There are different pools. And then what are the taxes that we should be aware of? Because when I look at the text in the Telegram chat as well as the WhatsApp group, I see that people are a little bit afraid to click on the unstake buttons or to change from one farm to another farm because they're a little bit concerned, what if they get sales tax, what if they get transfer tax? So I'm going to be reviewing some of those in this issue as well. What is up with the PRV2 native farm APR? Some of you may already notice that the return between the PRV2 farms and the PRVG farms are actually quite close. So what's up with that? And then some of you, perhaps you've been one of the early ones and you did some farming and you got some nice amounts of PRV2, and when you try to sell your harvest, it gives some kind of a error message. So how do we fix those issues? I'm going to be talking about that in this video as well. And then is there like an auto compound feature such as the previous PRV vaults? We're going to be talking about the known bugs. On the main page when you log in, the USD values are not showing up. Also going to talk about the sales tax for contributing liquidity using the Pancake Swap. Some of you, including myself, I realized that when I put in the value just wasn't tallying with what I got in the preview screen. This actually was being addressed by an LP creator issue, but there's also some kind of a BNB fee error. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about that in this video too. Some of you may have realized we're supposed to have a PRVG pool where you can earn PRVG and BUSD at the same time. That seems to be missing at this point of time. And then how do you keep track of your referrals and how do you refer, and do you need to deposit and refer and so on and so forth. First and foremost, I'm just an investor like the rest of you guys, but I've been with PRV since the very first project. It's my very first yield farming project. I am assuming that there are a lot of new people in this game that are on the WhatsApp group and on the Telegram group and looking a bit lost. I'm sure the PRV team has been working overtime to fix these problems because they went off earlier than usual, probably to come back on again for the next productive round to fix this problem and that problem. So as a fellow investor, just want to help provide some direction to you guys. And if you have not already staked or if you're not referred by anyone for Privacy Swap, please use my link in the video description so that I can also benefit from providing you these good advice. Okay, I have some news flash updates as well. I've been informed by an admin that is already up by now that an emergency AMA is being planned, and this is for 9:30 p.m. That's basically a couple hours from now. So I'm in Bangkok. This is 2, so that's actually like 8:30 p.m. Bangkok time. That's 6 hours from now. And for those in Singapore, well, that's 9:30 Singapore time. Okay. And in the US, well, it's more or less one of those timings as well. Just check your respective time zone. The DEX is also being brought forward, and also there's a tokenomics adjustment that is being discussed. They will probably be the ones to bring on this information later on during the emergency AMA, or rather the AMA that's made to address a lot of these biting issues. Topic number 1, where to farm, where to stake. If you click the link in the video description, it's going to bring you to the Privacy Swap page right here. AMA has been announced, it is over here as well. The first thing, if you want to find your farms, the farms are located here. And these are the PRV2 farms, and there are also the PRVG farms. Notice that all these farms are the native farms. Some people are asking where are the other non-native farms. They are being held for later on. I think it's a very good decision. As we all know, there was some unforeseen dumping in the price. One of the initial measures taken by the team is to launch the natives first. I think this is the best way to assess who are the brand loyal people that are here for the long run. This is the pool section, and you can find the pools over here. There are supposed to be 4, okay? I'll be talking about the missing one later on as well, okay? So we have 2 PRV2 pools and 1 PRVG pool, supposed to be another PRVG pool as well. Over here, you can see what is being paid. If you're wondering what is different between these pools, I want to draw your attention to look at what you are earning. This one, you can earn PRVG with PRV2. And this one, you can earn PRV2 with PRV2. Toward the end of this video, I'm also going to be discussing a little bit about some strategy, because there are some newbies in the WhatsApp group and Telegram groups wondering where they should put the money. So I'll be talking about that later. Like, what are some of my own ideas? I mean, these are just my logics. Don't take it as financial advice, but if you understand where I'm coming from, I hope it helps you to make a better decision. Where to farm, where to stake. I want to draw your attention to, let's say for those of you who are in for the referrals game, or let's say you're into the cards. My understanding is that this one here is the one that's going to be supporting your cards in the referral upgrade. The referral upgrade is so that you can earn on 3 levels. 8% first level, 3% second level, and 1% on the third level. So therefore, this has the highest total liquidity. These other two have less. Now we're going to head back over to the farm side. I know it's kind of confusing. So pay attention to what these respective farms will earn. So these ones here, the PRV2 BNB, the PRV2 BUSD, these ones will be earning you in PRVG, okay? And take note of the percentages. So on the other hand, there's also another set of PRV2 BNB and PRV2 BUSD that earn you in PRV2, and these ones actually offer a higher APR at this point. Pay attention to notice that there is some difference in the multiplier. So the one here has a higher, this one here has the highest multiplier, but this one here, BUSD, has a higher APR at this point. I should think that in time to come, when more investors come over to this side, this one will prevail in terms of the APR, because when liquidity gets to the same amount, it's just relative, and this will eventually be lower due to the lower multiplier. We can actually sort it by doing like this, by PRVG only, in terms of earning PRVG only. So all these are the ones that earn you PRVG, and then all these ones are the ones that earn you, PRV2. So this, you can filter in that sense. I think it's best to have them all open and you can compare at the same time. Once again, at the end of this video, I'll be talking about some investing strategy. Again, it's not financial advice, but just some of the things that I think about that maybe will help you to make a better decision. Okay, let's talk about the taxes that we should be aware of. The transfer tax has been removed. There's only sales tax of 8% for PRV2 only and not for PRVG, okay? So just take note. I know some of you guys are very cautious with regard to, oh dear, I don't want to press the wrong button and incur an 8% loss or something like that. So I'll also be talking a little bit about like some people who may experience like some of the money going missing or amounts going missing. I also am aware that there is some announcement that AirDrop will be going on to fix it as well. So the team is working really hard at this point. I think it's relevant for me to discuss the sales tax for contributing liquidity using PancakeSwap. Let's go over to this tab, LP Creator. Okay, so it says here that as PRV2 has a built-in sales tax of 8%, smart contracts are unable to differentiate between the sales transaction from adding liquidity. As a result, some users who added PRV2 liquidity early were subjected to a tax, and I was one of them, unfortunately, as well. So as such, they have built a special liquidity converter. Basically, this is the one, LP Creator is the one that you want to be using instead of the trade and clicking on liquidity as I've shown in my previous video. So how to use a liquidity converter, you follow the instructions, basically enter the amount that you want to use, and then it will calculate the relevant amount of BUSD or the amount of BNB, approve the contract, and then supply the liquidity. That's how it's being done. Now we skip back to the Farms tab to see what's up with the Native Farms APR. As we all understand, the PRV2 APR should be significantly higher than the PRVG, but at this point of time, it seems that they are quite similar, okay? And this is bearing in mind that the PRVG has, a higher liquidity than the PRV2 BNB farm, and it actually has the same multiplier. So why does this have, a relatively high APR on this one compared to this? This is a result of what has happened since the launching of the token. There was huge sell-off followed by a buyback, and I suppose at this point of time there is still a lot of uncertainty going on. So because the formula of APR is being calculated based on several factors, which include the multiplier, also the pricing, and also the liquidity added, Therefore, in this case, if we notice the current PRVG is about half of what it is supposed to be based on the pre-sale peg, and the PRV2 on the other hand is over 75% less than what it is supposed to be. So if we multiply this by, if the price of PRV2 goes up to half of what the pre-sale peg is, basically we're looking at an APR that is double of this. And if it goes up to the launch price of 4 cents, then we're looking at this current APR to be over 4 times of what it is right now, which will be pretty high. If we put in perspective, many of you who have been on other so-called fair launch, and with the price going up as people are coming in, basically as long as people are buying in at a pace that is equal or higher than the emission, the token price would go down gradually if new buy-ins are not there. If the buy-ins come in at a certain rate, it's able to sustain the price of the token and the APR even as new tokens are being minted. So at this point of time, we need to have the PRV2 price to come back up. When that happens, we will be having nice APR returns on the PRV2. So let's say if you're in the referrals game, well, this is a great time to refer and share and have people to buy into the PRV2, and then you can actually earn on the referral side if you have staked the PRVG to upgrade your account. Or even if it does not meet, you still get a 1% of the harvest, which is not bad at all. Some of you face issues that you cannot sell the harvest. What do you mean by sell the harvest? Okay, like depending on the strategy, some people like to keep the token, some people also want to basically take profit. Okay, so if this is you and you are having some issues to sell the harvest, maybe you receive some kind of error like this. When you try to swap it to something else, you swap it from a PRV2 to something else and you receive this error. Transaction cannot succeed due to error undefined. Initially what I did was that I increased the slippage tolerance from my 0.5 into a 1%. I even tried like a 5% and it didn't work. Eventually I tried a 10%. And the reason why 10% is important is because 8 of that has to go to sales tax. So we need the extra 2% on top of the 8%. So it's really just a 2%, but we need the 10% to cover sales tax as well. Then the transaction was able to go through, like so, okay? Some of you are asking what about the privacy vaults and is there any auto compound? This has been discussed at the previous EMA where people are talking about auto compound, where the team has been talking about an auto compound solution, but that has not been announced yet. If you're in a farm, let's use myself for example. No, I do not have enough BNB for all the number of tokens that I have. So what I would have to do is that I would have to harvest here and then go over to the trade, do the swap. Okay, if it's a PRVG, you do not need to mark up the slippage as I've shown you previously, only for the PRV2. And then if I swap that to BNB, then I can go to LP Creator and use some of the PRV2 and available BNB to create additional LP token, and this is the way I compound. Some of you may be worried because the homepage there's no dollar value for all this balance, okay? So I'm sure the team is working on it and hopefully they'll have it by later today. Some of you also experience very high amount of gas fee for your adding liquidity, or some of you were late to swap your pre-tokens into the PRV2 and PRVG. So if you receive this kind of a gas fee, please press the reject button because you definitely don't want to spend this amount of BNB. It is a glitch. Don't do it, just press the reject button. Very recently, like yesterday, there was also a glitch with regards to the swapping of the pre-tokens to the PRV2 and the PRVG. It actually made people approve for the spend of the PRV2 instead of making people approve for the spend of the PRVG and so the pre-PRVG and pre-PRV2. So it was kind of like flipped the other way around, and that's why the transaction did not go through. That issue seems to have been fixed already. This friend informed me that his transaction already went through. Some of you noticed that on my homepage I still have a larger PRVG balance. What is up with that? Well, I'm waiting for the PRVG staking pool to come back on, the other one that can earn BUSD before I put it into it. So I'm just going to put it there. I mean, the other one makes like what, 0.05 per day, so I'm just holding on, waiting for the other pool to come back, and then I'll put this in. And at the same time, as and when I get more BNB, I'll be pairing this up for liquidity and putting it into a PRVG BNB farm. Next, I'm going to be talking about the referrals tool. The referrals tool can be found by clicking the referrals tab over here. The reward will be sent automatically each time your referrals collect their PRV2 and PRVG. Personally, I'm a little bit unclear about this myself, and I will be commenting back here in the sticky post, the pinned comment, when I get some idea about what this is when I find out. I'm assuming that this is the amount of PRV2 referral commission for single asset pool staking when people harvest the game. And on the other hand, there were some better results that I had from the liquidity tab, because when I look in my liquidity tab, there's a lot of new liquidity popping up. Take note that you don't need to join us to receiving reward, but you're always welcomed. So this means to say that even without a stake, as long as you have a referral link, you can actually earn a 1% commission. I was trying to look into the MasterChef earlier to find out if there was any discrepancy for emission, and found out that really the APR is due to because of the price of the PRV2 that had dropped much lower than expected due to some of the dumping. While looking into the MasterChef as well, I noticed the commission, and this is the referral commission that people, in case you want to know what it is, Tier 1 8%, Tier 2 3%, Tier 3 1%. I have been contacted that my card is already ready and on the way to me. This means that for those of you who also want the privacy card, what's really cool about the privacy card is there's no spending limit, unlike most of the other cards, and it can be used in more countries, in fact all countries around the world as we know at this point, and has very competitive fees as well for usage. That is a very, very good reason to hold on to those PRVG, and in fact some of you may even want to buy in for PRVG if you have not already done so, if you're just checking out this project. This is the card's privacy swap page, and these are the respective staking requirements for each of the cards. So for the Premium Black, it's a plastic card, it's 500 USD. The Black Metal and the Silver Metal, these are the relevant stakes. So if you go in now at this current price, you can actually have more PRVG for less. And when it comes back up, it actually means that you need less money to get the amount of staking to get these cards. The Gitbook for Privacy Swap 2.0 has already been updated into docs.privacyswap.finance, and you can actually check out the details over here. The roadmap and all that is updated as well. To bring to your attention the latest news that I have, which will probably be discussed more in the upcoming AMA today, is the decentralized exchange. Okay, so look out for information on that. Look out for information on the tokenomics adjustment, because I'm understanding from the admin that there's going to be some adjustment to basically revitalize and get people to have more purpose in the PRV2. Finally, as promised, I'm going to start talking a little bit about some investment strategy, okay? There are some questions in the WhatsApp as well as Telegram, like, where to stake, because there's so many options and most people are just only used to seeing one or two different farms for native, but now there's like a whole bunch of them. So what do we do? There's 8 different farms. What do we pick? If your game is to go for the game, okay, then definitely it makes a lot of sense to go for the ones that offer the highest APR. So go with the highest APR and then basically harvest. Just take note that right now the PRV2 farms offer the highest APR where you earn in PRV2. Stake in these ones, then sell the harvest by converting it back to some other thing like BUSD or BNB. Whether you want to keep it in BNB or BUSD, or you want to repurpose some of that by compounding back in the farm, that's totally your choice. I have another video about a 50-25-25 strategy, and you can refer to that as well. The link will probably pop up somewhere on the right corner of this video. If your goal is a very long-term goal and you want to have the biggest share in the privacy swap growth and upcoming roadmap, then it will make sense if you put in a farm that earns PRVG. If your goal is somewhere in between, then it would make sense that when you get your harvest, you may want to convert half to PUSD or BNB, and then the other half you convert it to PRVG. So in that way, you're able to take advantage of the high APR as well. Take note that when you're converting your harvest from PRV2 to any other coin, there is a sales tax of 8%, and this will go 5% to the PRVG hodlers, 1.5% to marketing, 1.5% to development. In case you're wondering, are you gonna screw up the system by doing that? No, you're not. You're actually gonna help support the system even as you swap out your profits. But for PRV2, stay put in hodl, because some of you realize that, you're already like 80% down on PRV2. So the best option is to just keep farming the token. To hedge my risk, I often will convert 50% out to BNB or some stable coin like BUSD. And then for the other half, as I mentioned, we are seeing this low APR due to the drop in price of the PRV2. So let's try to help them to stabilize the price by keeping our PRV2 but only selling the harvest. You may also decide, as I mentioned previously, that you may convert like a portion of it, let's say 50%, and the other 50%, convert half of that to a BUSD or a BNB to pair it with your balanced PRV2 and add back into the farm and compound. This is the same approach that many people in PRV have done, including myself, that were here since the early days of Privacy Swap. And by doing this approach, when the project has come along, because we see how strong the team is in making new measures and changes constantly, by simply farming and waiting for the price to come back up, we're actually able to make a gain. I hope this video helps to provide some clarity to a lot of the mess that is going on with this new launch. I'm sure it's really because the Privacy Swap team wants the best for everyone, but we all know that with the more variables, the more moving parts, definitely more things can crop up. So let's give them some time and support as they work on fixing these issues, because Privacy Swap is the very first Web3 system that allows anyone to connect a MetaMask wallet directly to a debit card system. There is no other such system on the market, so this alone is a great utility. And also because the DEX project is being brought forward, it makes sense to accumulate PRVG as best as you can right now. If there are any questions about some of these topics that I've covered in this video, or there are other things that I left out from this video, you're most welcome to type in the comments beneath this video. And if it is something that requires a video by itself, I will work on creating that too. Thanks for watching, and do leave me a like and a comment if this video has been helpful to you.